Folks, this is the overview of public speaking. It starts on page 1 in your textbook, and I'm just going to go through a couple of things with this PowerPoint that comes with the teacher's resources. Just going to give you a little overview of what's going on in this chapter and what's going to be happening in this class. Excuse me. So the first section in this chapter is how will public speaking help you? And my expectation is that public speaking is going to help you in a variety of places. A lot of you admitted to being just a little bit shy. My expectation is that whenever you find your message, you will let go of some of that shyness in order to get that message out. And you maybe haven't found your message yet, and maybe this class will help you get there. And that's the other thing that I ask you in your inventory, is to think about what you care about, what matters to you, and things like that, and that will help us find your message. The next section discusses how to be a successful public speaker. A couple of things that we can do here is be audience-centered. That means think about who is in your audience and what kinds of messages they're interested in hearing, and that also needs to have a little bit of a layover of what is a message that you as a person in this world can deliver. The book also asks that you select appropriate topics. Now hopefully I'm going to help you out with your topics, and my hope again always is that students pick out their own topics for their speeches. I think I mentioned this in the previous video, the introduction video, that I can choose topics for everyone, but they're not always the best topics whenever I pick them. They're good for me, but maybe not necessarily for you. And be knowledgeable. That is the best thing that is going to make you overcome a lot of your nerves whenever you speak in this class or anywhere else. The more you know your subject, the more confident that you'll be, and the stronger you'll feel about the possibility of being successful. And use appropriate verbal and nonverbal delivery, and that is don't hold your hands back. Let them allow yourself to do some gestures, and if you need to further articulate what's going on with your words, please do use some fun delivery things. Use appropriate appeals, and I talked a little bit about this in the introduction again, that I eliminated some topics from our class because some folks go directly to the emotional appeal, and while emotional appeals can be effective, in this class we're going to be working more with logical appeals. So we'll get into this in another chapter later, but Aristotle is known for these appeals, traditional appeals, which are logos, which is a logical appeal to your audience, and that's where we're going to focus most of this class. Ethos is establishing your credibility as a speaker, and that can be a very strong appeal to your audience. Pathos is pathos is an emotional appeal, and that's what we're kind of going to avoid. That I usually ask people to do in the introduction and the conclusion, but the heart of the speech will be within logos. And mythos, and that's that connection to one's community, and you appeal to folks wanting to be part of society, your culture, your community. And again, we're going to get through these in another chapter in a lot more depth, so don't worry about those then. I'm sorry, don't worry about them now. So the book also asks you to be creative but organized. Now we'll work a lot in this semester about outlines and being organized in ways that help your audience understand your message. Select appropriate delivery styles. Nonverbal and verbal things, using the right words, being able to speak extemporaneously and not reading from anything. And practice again and again. This is the thing that is going to turn it around for you. The more that you practice your speech, the more confident you'll be, and the more connected you'll be to that material. And we'll do things to boost your confidence. I'm hoping that you practice your speech a couple of times before you record it. That usually boosts confidence. Knowing the material is also a big boost to confidence. Now, how do we overcome fear of public speaking? I'm sure some of you have picked to do an online course because it is a little less terrorizing or terrifying, public speaking, but there's still going to be some daunting moments in this class for you, I'm sure. The book suggests you face your fear head on. And that means don't shy away from public speaking. My expectation is that if you're going to survive in the professional world, eventually you will have to do some public speaking. And work on those techniques and tactics will help you master that and have the opportunity to relax and focus on the material and not what's happening in your head so much. Learn some techniques that work for you, and that means maybe you do some practice. Maybe you practice in front of family members or stuffed animals. Perhaps you do some imagery, guided imagery, and things like that. And the last thing is, of course, practice. That is probably the best thing that you can do. So how can you be an ethical public speaker? I'm not sure what that last slide was about. How can you become an ethical public speaker? And I'm on page 8 in the textbook right now. Be well rehearsed, of course. Be open to differences in your audience, and maybe your audience has a variety of beliefs, attitudes, values, and behaviors. Use reliable sources and reasoning. We're going to work a lot on where to find information to support our speech. And the more reliable your sources are, the more reliable a speaker that you will be, and therefore more ethical. And respect the power of language. Remember that we have responsibility as speakers to our audiences to be respectful of our material and of the folks in the audience. We just went over that. And again, this slide came with the book, so I'm going to kind of go through some of the slides a little bit quicker. Being dedicated and thorough in citing sources. Again, we're going to use sources, and this works very similarly to the work that you do on papers. So you cite your sources and understand the difference between what is plagiarism and what is not. And ultimately, I want you to do your own work. So if you say things or use ideas that are not yours, just give that person credit. There's no shame in that. Most academic disciplines, or all the academic disciplines, are built upon the people who have worked in that discipline before you. So expect to use other people's ideas, and that is okay. If you don't cite, that is considered plagiarism for sure. Be an ethical public speaker by standing by your words. I mean, be honest with yourself and with your audience and with your material. Support and endorse the freedom of expression. Recognize that folks who are in your audience may not agree with you, and that is definitely, obviously, their right, and they may want to express opposite views. When we use the skills offered in this book, what self-promotion the book is offering here, my expectation is that you're going to use the skills in this book, obviously in this class, in any other class that you're doing a speech or writing a paper in, or any kind of presentation for class, and beyond school, in your professional life. The process of communication, that is something we'll look at quickly. Communication process, there is a speaker, there is audience members, and the message that the speaker offers the audience. And the audience offers feedback, and that's not always direct verbal feedback. Sometimes that's a groan, or sometimes that's the people looking down or looking away or playing with their phone while the speaker is speaking. And that is feedback too. You're getting that you're getting some kind of reaction from your audience. Noise. Noise happens at both actual noise, like if you hear a train outside the window, that would be actual noise, but sometimes if there is something in between the speaker and the audience, that can be considered noise as well. The channel is the means of getting the message across, so that would be the words and maybe the presentation slides. Now on this slide you see the speaker pointing to a picture of something on the wall. That would be part of the channel as well. So the whole scene is the situation. And the background refers to the speaker and the audience, identities, and life experiences. So all the things that are in everyone's previous experiences, and then sometimes the places where they overlap is where we find common ground in a communication experience. So the process of communicating is transactional. That means that we're all senders and receivers of messages, and it's our responsibility as communicators to create meaning together. So the creative process for public speaking: know your audience, select your purpose and your topic, find support material, and that means going to the library, locate the support material either in the library or in the databases.